Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and a number of interesting topics to dive into today. OpTic's potentially last streamed scrim set of the entirety of this season went down last night, ended rather more swiftly than some people were expecting, but also a CDL employee deciding to step away from the organisation, leaking some details as to the lack of internal resourcing that they have suffered with the last couple of years. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting a like button, it's the best thing you can do. Top this channel recently, people. Please subscribe as well if you have not yet already. First of all, let's just straight up dive into this then. So this comes out from Matt.Zeb last night. Now, I haven't had a personal interaction with Zeb, but generally the community perception is he's done the very best he can do with the resources he's been offered, especially from the challenges front these last couple of seasons, to make the CDL and challenges especially even what it has been today, and well, given what he's been offered effectively. And he goes on to talk about that too in a couple of seconds time. But really, Zeb has been one of the guys that, one of the real only public-facing guys from the CDL front. Spinner Spence is kind of there from the professional scene. Zeb has really been that guy for the amateur circuit, and I think he's done his best really in interactions with some of the amateur players and challenges players when he's had the opportunity to do so, even though the resources on his plate haven't exactly been spectacular, as of course he goes on to describe right here. So GG, on the 31st, I'll be leaving the CDL and ending my career in esports. We're excited to see where this guy goes next. I'm sure he's going to be a valuable asset to wherever he does end up, but well, as he describes right here, TLDR, I was presented an exciting opportunity elsewhere. The challenges community is dope and I was not actively trying to step away. CDL leadership needs to introduce organizational priorities to grow the challenges program. Shout outs to my Roy Krampers, who of course has been leading the line of tearing up the game at these last several weeks. Still there for some reason, but thankfully not in private matches anymore. I just don't understand something sometimes. So if you guys want to check this entire thing out, I'll leave a link down below as always. But this I thought was really the interesting paragraph that he comes out with right here. So he kind of describes how we got into league, what they've managed to achieve given what they've had on the plate is far from everything I've wanted to do, but I do hope I've done right by the community. To be transparent with you, it was not always easy, especially with the insanity of the pandemic, as he describes. Challenges is a low to no priority for most of the CDL organization, which has resulted in little internal resourcing, attention, and mindshare given to the program. This is quite remarkable. I would have understood this if it said, okay, well, at least it would have been, almost acceptable in a way, if it, for the Activision Blizzard in general as a company, that, CDL challenges was a low to no priority. You'd think that for Activision Blizzard, the CDL in general should be a pretty damn big priority, but also maybe challenges that goes down their radar. But if for the CDL organization themselves, challenges is a low to no priority, that's just straight up unacceptable. And as he describes, little internal resourcing, no one gives it any attention, mindshare given to the program at all. And this is just incredible, really, because when the CDL was launched, right, you guys remember the logo. I mean, obviously you know the logo that's coming out. It's a Call of Duty League, and it's got the kind of the three lines going on. Those are meant to represent the three pillars of competitive Call of Duty. They came up with a nice little graphic or whatever at the start of when they launched the CDL, that one of the pillars was the professional scene, one of the pillars was the challenger scene, and the other pillar was the fans. I'm pretty sure those are the three pillars. For one of them just to be a low to no priority, and maybe even more than one, right, you could look at it from that perspective, to be honest. It's just straight up crazy, to be honest. Unfortunately, that made it seem as though I was working on an island, and it became tough to feel good about the work I did. But hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. I still tried to do what I could for the community. Conversations with leadership on my way out gave me some belief things will change better for the future. But, still, maybe that's, more than wishful thinking, frankly. But remarkable to hear this from someone who was just working for the league. And I think it was just a few days ago, right, that maybe it was Hex or someone said that, we don't really hear about this stuff because no one at the league has kind of quit and kind of revealed what's going on internally. Now that's happened just a few days later, and we get to see, maybe this will change some things internally, right, even though I kind of doubt that. He goes on to kind of describe who's handling challenges right now and going forwards, and, saying that it's going to be split among the competition operations team. So I guess, that's a possibility. Hopefully things are brighter, going forwards. But just some of the reaction here I thought was kind of interesting, right, from Saint, of course, some of the challenges guys. I'm sure everyone appreciates your efforts for the time we've worked with you. I'm sure he did. Best of luck for the future. So, people tend to realize that this guy didn't have the greatest amount of resources on his plate, especially for the CDL themselves not to really care about challenges. And given the fact that it's not exactly like the professional circuit of the CDL is killing it on all fronts as well, it's kind of incredible. And there's no way the professional circuit survives long term if the challenges ecosystem isn't there. So just one of these things. As Josh says as well, always tried your best to help the scene. Revan as well, of course, a coach for the subliners. You generally cared about the product and the scene, and you'll be missed by all, right? So obviously not the greatest situation for pretty much everyone involved. And Maniak went on to say something I thought was kind of interesting as he describes right here. Challenges players, time to execute your plan B, right? Because of course, if you're a player in Challenges right now, you've probably got to have a plan B in the background as to whatever that might be. And Maniak reckons that with Zeb gone, like, well, it doesn't look good for Challenges, right? So maybe it's just time to pack it all in, go to Halo, go to another game, go to Warzone streaming or whatever, or just, get a normal job. I don't know. But, I'm sure some of these guys will stick it out and have good success. Hopefully they will at the very least. But obviously not the greatest time for the CDL in general. It seems kind of crazy, the fact that every single day there's just more L's, right? Like, at the CDL catch 1W. I'm just asking for 1W. But it doesn't seem to be happening right now. Maybe it'll happen in January, a new year, new CDL, maybe. Kind of doubt it. We'll see. This also then from Scump last night. A big topic of the last couple of days has been, okay, which teams are still going to be streaming their practice going into the new year? Are any going to be? Are they going to be taking things super seriously? So Scump tweets this out last night. Streamers live OpTic Texas Team Scrims could potentially be the final day of streamed practice. Some, maybe not, right? Of course, other organizations that sometimes like Clayster will turn on the stream like once a month or something to stream some scrims during the regular season. And OpTic might well do it again. It depends. Like, if these guys are killing it at the start of the year and they haven't been streaming their practice, then they might think about, well, not streaming them anymore, right? Because if they're particularly good, then they think, okay, maybe streaming the practice was holding us back last year. We'll see how things go. But Shotzi makes it slightly more explicitly, well, tweets out right here, Scrims last day of streaming Scrims. Just straight up saying, yeah, it is the last day. We're not doing it anymore after this into the new year. Pretty sure they're taking like today, and then, the new year's kind of a little bit off. And then from there, they'll be streaming their practice. But behind the scenes, we might not have too much opportunity to see what's going on. Sometimes you can, because people are like friends with them and they get into the lobbies and see how things are going. But obviously, it's more difficult to tell what exactly is happening in some of these scrim sets. But it is interesting, right, whether this is a good idea, whether this is going to help them. Of course, if OpTic aren't as good this season as a lot of people expect them to be, then, will they start streaming practice again in the middle of the year? You'd think maybe not, just because, like, they might think, okay, well, if we stream practice, if anything, we might get worse, right? It's hardly going to help us. So it's tough to see an environment where they might actually do this, unless they are just an absolute dominant force in the game, and they don't mind turning on the stream, and they feel like, well, they're not going to lose anything by doing so. Of course, it's been good entertainment so far, but, well, it's not exactly great for the fans, especially given we don't have all that much to think about right now. As their formal says as well, why with a sad face, maybe kind of representing a lot of the perceptions within the competitive scene. But just before we go on to look at the results of these scrimsets, I wanted to share what Scump had to say last night. We talked about it the last couple of days, like, what is Scump actually going to be streaming? Because he loves to stream, he loves to put the hours in and show that he's, done something with his time, and, well, of course, he wants to stream a fair bit of Call of Duty, but what can you realistically play? It's not like back in the day where you could play public matches for hours and actually have a good time doing so. There's no League play arriving as of yet, as he describes right here, so maybe it's going to have to be Caldera and Warzone that he plays, but still, I'm sure he'd love another option on the table.
Myself and the community, we're going to have to figure out what the hell we're going to do with the stream and with content and with all of that stuff, because obviously I want to keep pushing out content. I mean, like, the only thing, it's just like, I feel like the only thing I can play is Caldera, like, for a reasonable amount of time. I mean, I don't really want to play Vanguard pubs, because obviously, like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Caldera is going to be like the only thing that I'm going to want to stream for a long time after scrims. At least until League play comes out. I mean, once League play comes out, I'll probably play that. But who the knows when that's coming out, or even if that's coming out? You know?
Maybe if there are Pro 8s going on at some point or another, Scump could hop into some of those as well. I think that would be a good time. But we actually saw generally even last year, and that was Cold War, a game that generally the pros looking back on seemed to relatively enjoy, at least in comparison to this game, that even Pro 8s were disappearing towards the end of the year anyway. The passion was just not there. But, well, these were some of the scrim results from last night. Firstly, Yeez & Co. That's, that's Saints' former team of ProLoot, Mohawk, and Spart. They were playing with Yeez right now, the substitute for Florida. Interesting, actually, that Florida almost lost this scrim set to Yeez, of course, who is their substitute right now. Florida are an interesting team. Are they actually going to be any good this season? There was some discussion on the Reddit last night. Which team is going to be the first to make a roster change this year? Some people were throwing Florida into that mix, but generally I think they're kind of hesitant to do so. The teams that are going to make changes are probably the ones that are going to be more willing to do so, but also obviously aren't performing particularly well anyway. It's tough to say who that's going to be before the season begins, but we can give it a good go. These were the OpTic Scrim results as well. I'm pretty sure the first one actually was up against Florida. Have a look at that one first. They win this one 6-1 relative relatively comfortable. The only map they lose, I mean, they win the Bocage 175 to 174. Classic scoreline really on that map. And, you know, they don't play the Bocage twice in this one. They lose the Tuscan 250, 230, but they win it the next time as well. And it will, yeah, 6-1 at the end of the day. I think the scrim set that we were just looking at was against London. This may well be the final scrim set that we actually see from OpTic this season. I reckon at some point they might turn it on again. But maybe in January they will for a little bit of time. It's tough to say. I think they want to shut it down though now to really grind in for the opening events. Because of course on the 21st, that's when the kickoff event is. And there is actually going to be a winner of that weekend, which is exciting at the very least. But I'm pretty sure there's no prize money on the line or anything that really counts for the entire season. But up against London, they go 2-1. They lost the Gather 2, and then for whatever reason, Shotzi's controller just gave up the ghost, and they had to call it a day there in the scrim side of things. So that seems to be pretty much it for the OpTic Scrims for this season. But yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Just wanted to finish off with this as well, because of course Sender, I'm pretty sure this is Sender. I mean, it certainly looks like Sender. And well, this is an image from way back in the day. Methods, of course, here on the left-hand side, Scump with all the cash. I'm not sure who this fella is on the right-hand side, but just a quality image of one of these Call of Duty event time actually way back in the day. And well, anyway, obviously these guys, at least these two in the middle, if this is indeed Sender, it certainly looks like him, are actually, well, of course, part of the same organization now, with Sender being effectively the assistant coach, it seems, for OpTic Texas for the upcoming season. Very much intrigued to your thoughts, though, in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit in the like button, tell us the YouTube gods, this is a good video, and I was like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you much, as always, take care. I don't want to see you next time.
They'll get P1, he's not even near time. I killed him. There's one gate, there's one gate. There's one gate.
As well. Yo, one guy's fire, first guy fire.
I fire, I fire. Fire dead. Yeah, I got him. I'm pushing through, I'm pushing depths. One statue now. Statue P1. More P1. There's plenty low sticker here. Low sticker. Gate, one's gate on me, gate.
Destiny weak. Fire done.
One more, watch out other gate. Gate literally blew it.
I think Pillow's in the street.
Actually, one's the close up pillar.
Yeah, left pillar.
Third detonates.
Outer, in the back on me.
One shot time.
I'm in there for fire. Too far. I got both of them. Wait, John. You kind of weak. I tagged him once.